Bloody rooster. Get a rooster, they said. Be fun, they said. Anyway, so gonna do a couple of videos, and I don't know whether to break them up or what. I don't know. So it doesn't look right. Anyway, 3 weeks ago we drove 900 k's one way to Seymour from my cousin's wedding, which was good. The drive was fine, but I have a 2.5-year-old and a 4.5-year-old for shits and giggles, for rough age. So consequently, you got to stop. So it took us 12 hours, right? But this meant that the rooster. And I opened my shed up, and they're in here. They've come straight in. It's like there's nothing in the shed for you. Get out. Anyway. So we have to stop every so often for Hugo to use toilet and whatnot. Anyhow, every men's restroom that we went in, every truck stop. Yeah, absolutely, he said it. Fucking pathetic. Of course, kids' clothes, especially being nearly 5, like stretchy elastic around the top, pencil legs through a leg hole that's this big, right? So, like every time a kid wants to sit down and crap, those shorts that he wears, even his pants, they touch the floor. And a lot of these fucking guys cannot operate their dick into the fucking bowl. Obviously, there's someone in there standing up to piss, right? In the toilet, without going to a urinal, right? So there's always piss on the floor in front of the toilets, right? So the second that Hugo pulls his shorts down, they fall down, and you've got to fucking hold them up so they don't sit in the piss. Like, for fuck's sakes, they let these cunts, half of them are fucking Rajas, fucking Indians, drive trucks. And it is annoying. Like, they are given a restroom as courtesy to a lot of these fuel stations and whatever, and they just fucking trash it. Like, we all remember the days where you had to go to the front desk and get a key and go around, and be it male or female toilets, didn't matter, because I remember my mother's having to do it and stuff like that. So it wasn't segregated between male or female toilets, but, some people need to be held accountable for their actions. So we're in fucking Keith, right? We pulled up. We made it to Keith, and it was about 7:30 in the morning, something like that. And I see this B-double come around the corner off the highway. It pulled in rather smooth. Then I realised, listening to it, the truck was automatic. Because I'm thinking, that can't be an Indian. That cannot be an Indian driving. It came in too well. Because I've got another experience here to talk about later on. Anyway, it pulls up. And of course, they make a filth in their own area. They got a truck stop area that's dedicated to trucks. And then there's a spot where you sort of only caravans and cars sort of go. But anything bigger than a heavy rigid would go around the other side. Anyhow, anything bigger than a medium rigid would go around the other side. Because of the high flow pumps and all that good shit. So, they're driving 2 up. So, basically, the truck doesn't have to stop. You just fucking swap drivers at some point. I think you reach your 14 hours each or whatever it is. I don't know. I don't do it. So just rough guesstimation. And you keep driving until both drivers are out of hours. Anyway, long and short of the story is these 2 Rajas fucking pull up. after me admiring him coming around the corner thinking, well, that was done smooth. They didn't hit the trees because it was a torque liner. So curtain side and everything. Didn't hit the trees on the far side and they come around, didn't cut the corner too much. Like they did what any truck driver would have done, right? So I thought, yeah, this is good. Then I realised it was two Rajahs. The second the passenger side opens his fucking door, right? He's out, he's got a bottle of water, he's brushing his teeth. You got a fucking restroom. If you don't want to fucking use it because it's a fucking pigsty, well then that's on you cunts, because it's you cunts that fucking can't operate your dick. Right? And he's fucking brushing his teeth and he's spitting it out on the ground. I'm just thinking, like we're parked at the information stand there. There's a bin there and a bin there. And we're sort of car and trailer, and I'm making breakfast. And I'm watching these two cunts, and then the first thing I thought, because, I'm eating my sandwich as they're pulling in, I'm thinking, as he's doing this, you know what? It's probably to get the cock taste out of his mouth. Seriously, from giving head to his fucking driver all night. Shouldn't say this, but, fuck it. My videos are getting pulled down for speaking the truth anyway. Speaking the truth and, like my first-hand experience with having COVID. So, fuck it. I checked the box that says not made for children, so fuck it. So anyway, fucking... the other experience I got, which was on a different time frame. Yeah, myself and Lucas, one of my friends from the quarry, we actually got the opportunity to go for a ride on our motorbikes together. This would be probably nearly 2 months ago now. We went to Mount Remarkable and Alligator Gorge and a few other things on our way back and had a bit of a look around. Anyhow, we're in a truck stop by Snowtown, grabbing a coffee. It's just out of Snowtown on the highway as you're heading north. On your left-hand side, 24 hour. I think it's an Ampol. Anyway, doesn't matter. We're in there, grabbing a coffee and fuel for bikes. Coffee for us, obviously. Fuel for bikes. Anyway, mind you, the coffee's probably just about as dear. This truck, I kid you not, flat nose Kenworth, B-double, fucking torque liner, comes roaring through. He's absolutely fucking pinging the engine. Like coming down the gears in the turning lane off the highway. And he's like, and of course the second you come off the highway and sort of do a little bit of travel, the fan comes on. So the belt's fucking screeching, the fucking truck's hitting its limiter, like he's fucking revving it up, and then he's under heavy Jake. So he's vroom, look at this vroom from the fan, and the fucking screech when he fucking steps on the pedal to fucking rev her up to try and gear match, like rev match his gears. And it's crunch, 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 and then I can hear the box is stuck between high and low. Anyway, he's fucking jumped on the throttle again, and it's grabbed low box. I don't know what fucking cog he was in, but whatever cog it fucking grabbed and low box at the same time, it fucking... You can see the driveline and the truck. The cab's gone like this. It's twisted up all the driveline. Hasn't broken anything, but he will. He'll break something one day. And that cunt will be out on the side of the fucking road there, getting a tow. But the whole fucking chassis is fucking twisted, and the wheels are fucking... skipped, almost fucking skipped. They didn't skip, but they fucking come close. And everything's just fucking grr, grr. You hear the fucking grr from all the transmission, like as it's grabbed these gears. And then he jumps back on the throttle, so it makes it even worse. And he fucking shock loads everything back the other way. And the truck sort of picks up in the cab again. And he comes screaming through the Bowsers and turns around at the end at like fucking 30, 35, 40 k's an hour. So he must have got fucking fourth gear, right? So he fucking comes screaming through like a bat out of hell. And at the angle of his approach either, I'm thinking, fuck, he's going to wipe out the pumps with the driver's side. So we're in Australia, so for the American viewers, that's the right-hand side, right? Which he is sitting on, right? So you should be able to see. Yeah. I'm thinking he's going to wipe out those pumps with his fucking rear trailer anyway. He didn't. But I swear it's only the sheer luck. fucks off down over the fucking big park, does a U-bolt, fucking parks up, and we see him walk across. Two other trucks come in with Rajars, right? And fucking, they're all fucking, ding, 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 ding. This is going to go against fucking community standards violations, but how I'll fucking, you'll all get to see it before it gets taken down. It took fucking 5 months for the last one to get taken down. So anyway, fucking, they're all fucking ding, 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 put, fucking wank each other off and all this other shit. Anyway, they go in. They've all got fucking coffee, you know, just that black stuff that fucking tastes like crap. Nothing that's any fucking good. Anyhow, they fucking, his two mates, they leave and they sort of drive somewhat okay for Rajars. And then he comes screaming out of this car park. Well, it's a truck park on the other side, on the northern side, right? He comes around and he's got to do a hard left to get back out on the highway. And he hasn't come far enough around, right? So the rear trailer is gone through, I don't know, it's fucking 5 foot deep, this culvert, where they run the water underneath the exit, right? 5 foot fucking deep. It must be fucking 8 foot wide. You know, like, the rear trailer's gone through, and the fucking first axle on the try of the rear trailer, the inside of the first axle, the first tyre, has just stayed on the not on the bitumen, but on the concrete fucking culvert where they fucking run the pipe through, right? So you've got 6 inches of concrete, which is a little bit raised, and then you've got the bitumen, right? So that's just stayed on the fucking concrete, and the other 2 axles have completely run through the fucking ditch, right? I'm thinking, fucking hell, he's going to flip his trailer. Because it's like this. I'm not exaggerating either. It's like this, right? So anyway, he gets through that, and I'm like, he's picked the fucking wrong line to get out. Because he missed the fucking light pole. There's a light pole there, right? Marking the exit. He missed that by fucking 3 feet. I'm thinking, fuck, he's going to hit it. And the only reason he didn't is because he started to take a bit of a wider line out. So he's out of the, what would you call it, the merging lane. So out of the merging lane into the lane of traffic that he's following. I'm just like, fucking hell. They let any cunt have a truck license. You know, like, I drive a single. I have had fuck all experience with a B-double or a fucking road train. The times I've had to do it, I fucking hated it because I get chucked in the deep end. And, you know, like on farms and shit like this, you know, go and hook this up and whatever and get it ready for me. And then that way, once fucking I come out, I can just take it and drive off. Yeah, sure, no worries. You know? So, yeah, I get around in the single quite fine. But have had fucking 5 minutes experience in a fucking road train. But all my mates fucking do it. I see what they go through. You know, like, and they're not bad drivers, but they're all fucking Australian. You know, like, and they've all had to pass the bar, you know. The bar's set here for a reason. You know, I'd probably pass it with a few days actually getting used to said truck. You know, I have no worry about that. You know, I say I'm fucking shit at it. I am, because I'm measuring myself with the people that are up here. You know, and I'm down here right at the fucking bottom, right? I mean, I've seen these guys back fucking 3 trailers into a shed with fucking 4 inches either side. You know, like, looking out of the fucking passenger side window of the truck in a half circle. You know, like, and they just like, oh yeah, do it about there, and they make it look easy. You know, because they've got fucking, 2,000 hours a year, or 2,500, 3,000 hours a year behind the wheel. You know. So anyway, that's what I've experienced. That's my little rant. Yeah. I'll tell you what. And we're out on motorbikes with these cunts in traffic. These Rajars. And I'm not the only one that fucking complains about it. You know, like, you get on any truck page on Facebook or TikTok, or fucking follow anybody on Instagram that drives a truck, and they'll tell you all about it, and they're just like, how the fuck do these cunts have a license? You see them operate a Camry. You know, like, if anyone gets taken out on a motorbike because it pulls out in front of a motorbike, 99 times out of 10 it's a fucking Camry. And if it's not a taxi driver, it's some fucking Raja that's probably just hopped out of his truck and jumped in his Camry to go home. So yeah, anyway, be aware, people. It's dangerous out there. Over and out.